Good morning, I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching Agenda on Signal TV channels 8 or 250 for high definition. And for those of you who have not yet subscribed with Signal, you can watch us on Facebook, One News PH Facebook, or YouTube, One News PH. And today is August 12, 2020. And it's a Wednesday, how time flies, the days pass by, and most of the time we are surprised that half of the week is gone and already, we're there, and you kind of wonder, so what's happened? What has happened in the week? Actually, when I look at the front page of the Philippine Star today, it says there, jail time for all corrupt PhilHealth executives vowed. There's that saying, the more things change, the more they look the same or remain the same. And that headline is familiar because that's happened at least 3 times already, with no less than the president vowing that there will be jail time, the guilty will be punished. And what happens is they replace the board, they replace the president of the PhilHealth, and it's the same thing again, and see you next year when I see you. That's what's happening. In any case, too early to editorialize, just kind of took note of the fact that the days have passed by really quickly, and things seem to be just the same. We're still dealing with COVID-19. We'll be dealing with COVID-19 for quite a while from the looks of it, but we will try to find out what real changes are being done by real people. Today, we're going to interview a representative of the Department of Labor, particularly Assistant Secretary Dominique Tutay, to find out, may mga bago ba talagang alituntunin? Meron bang mga bagong patakaran? Are there new rules? Apparently, the Department of Labor, or DOLE, has been working with the Department of Trade and Industry to come up with a new system, new guidelines on how people are supposed to conduct themselves in the workplace. Why? Because a lot of people, particularly the mayors, are pointing out that yung kanilang mga community transmission ay hindi po lokal. Ang nangyayari, marami sa kanilang mga tao pupunta sa Metro Manila, magtatrabaho, and then come home, hindi lang po sweldo ang pasalubong, kasama na yung COVID. So the suspect is workplace. So we will ask Nikki Tutay regarding that and many other things with the DOLE. Then we will be speaking, hopefully, with the Usec Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya, one of our regulars here on the agenda, because there's a lot of things that's happening, and we'd like to clarify with DILG kasi sabi nga ni Secretary Anyo ng DILG, kahit sa bahay mag-mask na kayo, kahit sa bahay mag-social distancing na kayo. And there is a good point to that, and there is a resistance to that. We'll find out from Jonathan Malaya. Then, last but not the least, another Joe, Jose Clemente III of the Tourism Congress of the Philippines, because for the last few days, medyo mainit ang ulo ng mga nasa tourism sector. Kasi word is there was a fund that was supposed to be dedicated, assigned for the tourism industry to help it recover or somehow, survive while we are going through this next 6 months or whatever. And it's been realigned. Mahirap pong magmaroon. Tanungin na lang natin mamaya si Mr. Clemente, bakit nagpuputok yung mga butsin nila, ba't ang iinit ng ulo nila. And I would ask all of you to please listen to or watch the program today, because I also received word last night from one of our scholars na magre-resign na raw siya sa trabaho niya kasi sobrang toxic at walang ginawa yung boss niya kung hindi magmura ng magmura. Now, you have to think, you've got to pay attention to that. If a person is seriously considering leaving his job at the time when everybody is looking for work or is thankful to God that they have work, what would drive a person currently employed to just leave the work because he can't stand the boss and he can't stand the workplace? And that's not the first time. I think our viewers, yung mga nagte-text sa akin, sumusulat, asking for advice regarding this matter. But nowadays, people came up with that label toxic workplace. The definition toxic is supposed to alarm employers, HR managers, even leaders in the workplace na kung toxic, kung qualified as toxic yung workplace nyo, ayusin nyo. Fix the problem, don't label it. That you have a workplace where your priority is quota and your leadership style is pagmumura. And I'm not referring to anyone else. I'm referring to people in the workplace. I'm sorry, you don't have my respect. And you can shut the TV for all I care. But, people are dying. Just today in the news, ex-COMELEC chief dies after COVID. That's happening every day. I have friends in the hospital who are fighting for their lives. Young people, age 40, 50. Pagkatapos idadagdag pa natin itong ating obsession with quota and profit, unahin po natin yung relasyon. Anyway, we'll go to that later. Let me go to the stories on the front page first. And here are the stories from the front page of the Philippine Star. President Rodrigo Duterte vowed to send corrupt PhilHealth officials to jail as the agency continues to be embroiled in a controversy over billions of funds allegedly lost to fraud and the purchase of supposedly overpriced equipment. Duterte said he would now get the true figures of the PhilHealth finances from the Commission of Audit, or COA, one of the agencies in the newly formed task force which is set to investigate the Philippine health issues or PhilHealth issues. Other members of the task force are the Office of the Ombudsman, Civil Service Commission, Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Department of Justice. Malacanang hinted at the possibility of reverting Metro Manila and other nearby provinces to GCQ or General Community Quarantine after modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ lapses on August 18. President Duterte lamented the continuing rise of COVID-19 cases, but he also said that the government needs to ease quarantine restrictions to improve the economy. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque also said that it is highly unlikely the modified ECQ will be extended. The national government has also vowed to clamp down on officials who will delay the processing of permits for cell sites. This as local government units scramble to comply with President Duterte's demand to improve telco services, which will in turn require prompt action by LGUs on pending applications. The Interior Department says only over 400 OTU of almost 2,000 applications are now pending after they have improved the process in a new system. And finally, former Commission on Elections Chairman Sixto Brillantes Jr. has passed away after his bout with COVID-19. He was 80 years old. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez confirmed the news of his passing after posting about it on his social media account. And that's the news, the front page of the Philippine Star. We would just like to express our condolences to the family of Commissioner Brillantes. He had guested on the show on several occasions, and We also want to thank him for his services to the country. We pray that the Lord will comfort you and guide you in these very sad times. In any case, we will continue with the show. Pero yun lang po, no, yung pagpanaw ni Commissioner Sixto Brillantes, hindi lang po yan isa, may sunod-sunod na. Nung isang araw, si Congressman Datol, yung sa senior citizens, namatay din. And quite a number of elderly senior citizens have passed away. And it just makes us realize that kami mga senior citizen, dahil qualified na po kung senior citizen, talagang nasa danger zone na tayong lahat. And as a friend posted on Facebook, Lord, teach us to number our days. I think more than anything, we should concern ourselves with the time we spend with loved ones, time we spend with each other, with our friends, calling each other, saying hello. Kasi po, katulad ng isang kaibigan ko, editor ng isang magazine, I suppose you'd call it an online magazine, si Vernon Sarne, he's 50-something, very young, very fit guy. He's in the ICU because of a brain aneurysm. And, you know, I don't want to be depressing. I don't want to start the day depressing, but I need to point out to all of you that you need to get your priorities straight. We all need to get our relationships in order. Sino ba ang mahalaga sa atin? Ano ba ang mahalaga sa atin? Because I might be here today and gone tomorrow. You could be here today watching Agenda and gone tomorrow. COVID-19 is such a wicked disease. And it just reminds us, perhaps it's also the Lord reminding us now, get your priorities straight, your relationship with God, your parents, your spouse, your children. Okay, let's find out naman. Go back to our trabaho. Trabaho naman tayo ngayon. Puntahan natin ang una nating bisita. Let's speak with Assistant Secretary of the Department of Labor and Department of Local Employment Bureau. She served as Assistant Secretary for Employment and General Administration Sub-Department of the agency as well. Let's bring in Assistant Secretary Dominique Tutay. Asec Nikki, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Cito. And idadagdag ko lang siguro condolences po talaga sa family ni Congressman Datol, Commissioner Brillantes, at Mayor Fred Lim. Yung po.
Oo nga, alam mo siguro, Asec Nikki, kuminsan, para bang, kagabi ko lang naisip yun, ano? So, teka, bakit hindi ko nga ba nababanggit ito mga kakilala ko sa programa? Parang, alam mo, honestly, and to the viewers, hindi po sa nakakaligtaan, kundi I guess we've come to this situation, we are in denial mode. Parang ang hirap ng tanggapin kasi alam mo yung may mamatay kang isang kaibigan every 3 months, masakit na yun eh. Unusual na yun. Pero yung makakatatlo pa sa isang buwan, medyo parang ang hirap tanggapin. In any case, you're correct. Si Fred Lim, hindi mo na tatanong. By 16 years old ako na press photographer sa Manila Western Police District sa headquarters. Si Colonel Alfredo Lim pa lang siya. At siya yan sa mga bastonero sa akin dahil pasaway ako noon. Okay, Nikki, mabalitaan ko lang kasi sinabi sa akin ng executive producer namin si Gab na may mga bago daw kayong tinatrabahong guidelines. There are new guidelines in the work to shape up or paano ba, lalong higpitan ang health protocols sa workplace. Ano ba nangyayari? Ano ba ang balita?
Opo, tama Sir Cito, as we speak now, and caveat din lang, yung Joint Memorandum Circular of DOLE DTI, this is a supplemental guideline doon po sa in-issue natin nung una pa dated April 30. But between April 30 and now, siguro marami na po tayong experiences in the workplace na kailangan na pong i-remind ulit ang ating mga employers at ang ating mga manggagawa. Hence the supplemental guidelines. And mind you, this supplemental guidelines is more detailed, mas maraming pages, so mas kailangan tiyagain, basahin po ng ating employers and ng workers. So siguro ipauna ko lang, Sir Cito, yung dati kasi 'di ba face mask, hand washing, and then yung physical distancing. Ngayon po, idadagdag na syempre yung face shield in the workplace, even inside your work area, kung lalo na kung may ka-interact ka na ibang tao. So that's one. And then yung nabanggit mo kanina about an employee na parang gusto na niya mag-give up. In the supplemental guidelines, we are proposing for the inclusion of increased physical and mental resilience, because you are right, people are not in their mental and psychological well-being at this time of COVID. Even if sabihin na natin nag-open ang economy, pinapabalik sila sa trabaho, but many do not want to go out yet, because at the back of their mind, natatakot po sila na makakontract po sila ng COVID-19. And therefore, the challenge of our HR, of our employers, is really to provide psychosocial support sa ating mga manggagawa and promote work-life balance. Hindi ho natin kailangang maggalit-galitan ngayon kasi kawawa rin ho yung mga tao na, yung mga manggagawa po natin. Too much pressure on them.
Yeah. Asek, Nikki, maganda yung nabanggit mo ngayon. Pwede ba tayong magtayo o pwede po ba kayong magtayo ng isang, parang yung 888 ni Presidente, dyan sa DOLE, kumuha kayo ng call center, yung para lang ma-report yung mga taong mura ng mura. Kasi technically, technically by law, kahit na ikaw boss, kahit ikaw may-ari ng kumpanya, hindi mo pwedeng mura-murahin ang tauhan mo, lalo na yung wala naman akong politika dito, no, but that's the law and you're with the Department of Labor. Bawal yun, alam ko pag minura-mura ang tao, maaring okay, sorry Nikki, kasi talaga ang init-init lang na ulo ko kanina, talaga hindi na maulit. One time okay, di ba? Pero kung ilang araw-araw kitang nagdadabog ako, ano ka ba, wala kang kwentang tao, gago, tanga, ganyan. Meron ba kayong hotline na pwede natin i-promote para matigil yan ganyan? I mean, we need professionals at workplace, not mental and emotional terrorists.
Siguro po, ang gumagana po sa amin ngayon is the DOLE hotline 1349. But even that, Sir Cito, we're trying to provide more services sa ating mga kababayan to reach out to them. Kaya yung aming pong hotline ay mas paiigtingin po namin, and there will be changes coming up soon. Siguro po, we will announce ano pong number na yung tatawagan ninyo para lang po maservisyohan ang mas nakararami po. And tama po kayo, kailangan po talaga ng parang advice lang sa ating mga workers, sa ating mga employers, lalo na on how to deal and how to be resilient, how to be compassionate and understanding po sa ating mga kasamahan sa trabaho.
Okay, bago ko hijack yung oras mo, sige, so ngayon kailangan yung health protocol plus face shield in the workplace. Pagkatapos, pinoint out mo na dapat ang HR and management need to give more attention to the mental, emotional well-being, psychosocial well-being of employees. Kumbaga, hindi lang yung bawal ang murahan o bawal ang sigawan, pero kailangan din chine-check. Kasi tama kayo dyan, Nikki. Baka alam mo, magaya tayo. Natatandaan ko many years back, yung sa US Postal Service, napabayaan nila yung psychosocial programs na yan. May papasok na lang sa opisina, dala-dala machine gun at mamamaril ng mga kasama. So, we need to pay attention to this. Anyway, so ano pa yung mga ibang additional guidelines?
Opo. Yung gusto ko rin lang pong i-emphasize, sir, in the proposed supplemental guidelines, there's already a provision on the regular testing. And it's not yung tinatawag natin na rapid test, because it's not reliable actually yung rapid test, but it's the RT-PCR. Ito yung swab testing po. Ito po ay nakakategorize po yung mga klase ng workers in specific industries that need to be tested, for instance, every 4 weeks or every 3 months. naka-outline na po doon sa ating supplemental guidelines, and that will be shouldered po by PhilHealth or private health insurance po ng ating mga manggagawa. There's also a provision on leave of absence and entitlements, kasi kung nagkakaroon nga po ng COVID testing, ito po madalas po itong tinatanong ng ating mga kababayan, paano kung nagkaroon ng COVID ang isang empleyado. So dyan po papasok ulit yung ating PhilHealth, yung SSS, at saka yung ating Employees Compensation Program. And siguro ho, last would be yung non-compliance po of the companies would mean closure until they fully comply with the minimum health standards. Mabanggit ko lang, Sir Cito, the DOLE and DTI have been conducting visits or inspections doon po sa ating mga establishments, and about 25,000 establishments covering 1 million workers have already been inspected. And kung titingnan mo po yung average compliance rate is nasa 75 or 76% nationwide. Depending on the region, may iba na super baba, meron namang iba na super okay lang, 80%, 90%, that's fine. Pero kung
What about National Capital Region? Kasi tayo yung sinasabi nila epicenter of COVID in the Philippines.
Yes, sir. Nasa 80% po ang compliance rate ng establishments na na-cover po natin. What is depressing is siguro yung nangyari po sa Calabarzon. Nakita ko sa data, mga 60% lang po yung compliance rate. At doon nga po nag-umpisa itong bakit kailangan na ng face shield, bakit kailangan hindi na kumain in a common place at the same time. Yung pagyoyosi, bawal na rin. Kasi doon nga po nakita na kaya po nagkaroon ng mataas na cases ng COVID sa workplaces in a certain area sa Calabarzon ay because of this habits ng ating mga manggagawa po sa loob mismo.
Nagkukumpul-kumpulan sila, magyoyosi sila, maninigarilyo sa isang kwarto kasi may smoking room dahil doon sa anti-smoking law. Pagkatapos may canteen. Alam mo, mabuti na banggit mo yan, Asec Nikki, kasi when COVID-19 pandemic started getting better understood, yung Japan, gumawa sila ng program with the NHK, yung National Broadcasting Company ng Japan. Gumawa sila ng mock-up nung buffet. Yung, ewan ko kung nakita mo yun, may buffet silang ginawa, tapos ginawa nila ng paraan para matesting kung merong mikrobyong dala ang mga tao, gaano kabilis at gaano karami ang may infect. And nakakita nila doon sa buffet kung saan lahat sumasandok, kumukuha ng ulam at kanin kung ano, mas matindi yung pagkalat. Ngayon, given that realization, what are we doing in terms of, kasi marami dyan sa mga industrial canteens or office canteen, gamit-gamit yung tray, hindi naman laging nahugasan yung tray na yan pag nagamit. Pagkatapos nakapila sa kainan, banned na ba yan?
Sir, kailangan naka-food pack na siya ngayon, bawal po yung buffet. And then kung common area, dining area in the workplace po, meron na pong oras, X number during this time, tapos yung susunod, another specific number naman po, hindi po pwedeng lahat at the same time. And then disinfection po every so often, hindi po dapat din magtagal doon sa dining area.
Okay, yung mga food delivery sa mga ganon, sa mga offices, kasi naku, itong mga batang to, ang hihilag, at hindi naman ako kontra sa mga food delivery, pero it makes the work of contact tracing much harder in case there is a contamination or community infection transmission. Paano yan? Kasi sabi ni Harry Roque, pwede naman daw magpa-food deliver. Sabi ko, pag yan ginawa nyo sa mga opisina, para kayong nakikipag-roll the dice.
Opo. Sir, doon papasok yung regular testing po ng ating mga categories of workers, lalo na po yung mga essential workers na tinatawag on a regular basis.
Paki-explain ngayon, Asec Nikki, yung categories and regular testing. Kasi sabi mo kanina, ang regular testing is once a month or every 3 months, kamo.
Yes, yes. Opo.
Sino yung mga ina-classify yung essential and must be given the regular testing?
Opo. I don't want to preempt yung paglabas po ng guidelines, but siguro umpisahan natin halimbawa po sa mga health workers, yung
Konti lang, konti lang.
natin, every 2 weeks po talaga yan kasi ano yan, mandatory talaga yan sa kanila.
Good.
Doon naman po sa halimbawa retail trade or yung food accommodation, ayan, every 4 weeks. And then meron po tayo in the manufacturing sector, for instance, every 3 months or depende ho kung nagkaroon ng, may tinatawag din Sir Cito na hindi ko nabanggit kanina.
Yeah.
Yung tinatawag po nila, I'm looking at my notes.
Okay lang, go ahead.
Case clustering. Ibig sabihin po, kung ang isang kumpanya nagkaroon ng 2 or more cases of COVID, case clustering na po yun, and therefore disinfection and closure of the building. So regardless po, halimbawa every 3 months kayo mag-test, kung nagkaroon na nga po ng case na ganito, na case clustering, so pwede naman kung as often as it is necessary, kahit na nakakategorize ang isang industriya or specific types of workers na ititest sila on a regular basis. So depende case-to-case basis pa rin po ang mangyayari. And the closure also, kailangan i-follow din po natin yung sa local ordinances. Kasi alam po natin, kahit halimbawa naka-GCQ, but merong mga pockets na naka-lockdown po, we have to follow that. The company should also follow the local ordinances.
Okay, merong nagtanong kasi ito, nag-text sa akin, what if a worker tests positive for COVID? Meaning, siguro isa lang, no? Pero kunyari, yung pasilidad nila, aircon. Yung bang isang floor lang ang ila-lockdown o yung buong building naka-lockdown? Kasi nabanggit mo 2 cases eh. So, 2 tao. Pero paano kung isa lang, paano ang gagawin doon?
Unang-una po, nasa discretion po yan mismo ng building administrator, kasi there are cases na kahit isang case lang po in 1 floor and there are 5 floors in the building, automatic po sinashutdown yung buong building and then nagdi-disinfect. Kasi unang-una, alalahanin natin yung entrance and exit are the same. So people go inside, outside, using the same facility within the building. So kahit sa isang floor lang po yung case, po pwede na rin po sabihin or i-order ng building administrator that we will disinfect the whole building na po.
Ay, maganda yung nabanggit mo na yan, Asec Nikki, kasi may mga buildings din akong alam na ang dami-daming daanan. Mas maganda nga siguro yun na, sige, yung mga tiga second floor doon sa east wing, yung mga tiga third floor doon sa west wing dumaan para mabawasan. Okay, so kahit isang kaso lang, batayan na yung pwede nang i-shutdown. Ngayon, paano ba ang patakaran ninyo? Okay, let's say there was a employee who tested positive, contact tracing, etc. What is the obligation of the employer? To whom will the employer report? Kasi may mga nagsasabi, hindi trabaho ng employer yan o HR. Kasi pag yung individual nag-test positive, yung laboratorio at saka yung health officer sa barangay o ang bahalang mag-report yan sa DOH. Ano ba ang patakaran ng DOLE?
Opo, ganito po yun, sir. Kapag nagkaroon po ng isang COVID case sa kumpanya, ang reporting po niya ay doon mismo sa local health officer po natin or local health center kung saan po nakatayo yung ating opisina.
Sa barangay?
Yes, sa barangay. Meron po tayong tinatawag na BERT, yung pong barangay health emergency whatever. Ayan.
Emergency response team. Okay.
Ayan. Oo. So, doon po, yun yung first line of defense po natin. And
Siguro nagka-boyfriend ka na pangalan Bert, kaya ayaw mo yung pangalan.
Okay. Tapos, meron po tayo din regular na re-require naman sa Department of Labor and Employment, yung work accident. And when we say work accident reporting, kasama na rin po yan dyan yung mga COVID cases. So, pero bago nyo po yan i-report sa DOLE, kailangan doon po muna sa local health centers po natin.
Okay. So, basta na-report mo na sa health center and then magre-report ka sa DOLE ng health ng work accident report. So, complied ka na, deemed as complied ka na. Ngayon, yung mga nagkasakit, kasi nagiging issue ito, Asec Nikki, nag-test positive. So, nagsabi siya sa HR, ma'am, test positive ako. O sige, di mag-quarantine ka muna, magpa-doktor ka. Paano ngayon makakabalik yung tao? Kasi ang dami, 80% daw asymptomatic eh. And sabi kahapon nila Maricar Limpin, nila doktora, Cito, magkulong lang yung mga yan ng 14 days. Wala nang COVID yan. Paano ngayon makakabalik ang tao? Meron ba tayong rules and regulations paano gawin?
Opo, kailangan pa rin po ng health clearance coming from the community health center kapag tayo po ay halimbawa na-test positive and then nag-quarantine po tayo ng 14 days bago po tayo bumalik sa ating trabaho, ay kakailanganin po natin yung clearance coming from the community health center. And then meron naman po kasing cases na halimbawa yung mga nakahalubilo ng ating mga COVID patient, tapos mga asymptomatic, they can go on quarantine for 14 days. And then kung wala naman pong symptoms na nararamdaman, pwede na rin pong bumalik ito sa pagawaan po natin. Yun lang, sir, kailangan kung nagka-quarantine tayo and we were exposed to a COVID-19 case, tapos nag-14-day quarantine ka, at any point na halimbawa nakaramdam po kayo ng symptoms while you are in isolation in your home, kailangan din pong i-report natin yan sa HR. Everyday monitoring po ang gagawin natin doon sa mga naka-home quarantine po.
Ayun, okay. Ano lang, no? So, last question ko na, Nikki, kasi marami nagtatanong. Paano yung babalik? Kunyari, okay na sila at sinabihan sila ng HR o ng boss, hindi pwede, kailangan magpa-RT-PCR ka. Sino magbabayad nun?
Opo, pag ganun, sir, it's shouldered by our health insurance systems, yung PhilHealth. Pwede rin po na yung kung meron po tayong private, ang tawag doon, yung mga health insurance, pwede doon po natin charge. Opo, HMOs.
Okay. O sige. Thank you, Asec Nikki. As usual, napaka matulungin ninyo sa DOLE. At please lang, pag meron na kayong telephone number para kung saan magsusumbong ng mura. Kasi honestly, alam ko yan, kasalanan ko dati yan bago ako naging Christian. Napakadumi ng bibig ko at napakatalas ng dila ko. Pero pinagsisihan ko na yan. So, please let us know and please remind employers na nasa batas ngayon. Thank you very much, Asec Nikki.
Okay, will do, sir, Sir Cito, and good morning po and stay safe, everyone.
Okay, please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and God bless you. Okay, yun po si Asec Nikki Tutay, Dominique Nikki Tutay ng Department of Labor and Employment, and I think everything is very clear as far as the new protocol is concerned. You still need to wear your mask. You now have to wear a face shield when you go to work, inside the workplace, etc., etc. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, pag-usapan po natin yung mga bagay-bagay na yan here on Agenda. You're back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Signal TV, channels 8 and 250. Okay, re-review ko lang po yung sinabi kanina ni Asec Nikki. Kailangan na po ninyong magsuot ng face shield in addition to wearing face mask in the workplace, and of course paying attention to social distancing, hand washing, and total hygiene concerns. In any case, yun po. So, and then if you are part of the essential workers, particularly yung mga nurses, sabi po ng DOLE, kailangan every 2 weeks ay pinapatest na kayo ng inyong mga pinapasukan o pinagtatrabahuang mga ospital. If you are a frontline health worker, nurse, siguro yung mga lab technicians, mga ambulance drivers, etc., kasama na po yan sa mga ipapatest. Ano? Pagkatapos, yun pong kailangan po doon ay for mga frontline workers every 2 weeks. Yun namang mga essential, medyo lilinawin nila. Ayoko na kaninang kulitin kasi pinagbigyan na tayo. Pero sinasabi nila na at least once a month, or if not every 3 months at the least, na kung essential workers yan. So yung mga frontliner, mga pulis, mga barangay workers, mga frontliner sa barangay, etc. Now, isa pong mahalaga na napagkasunduan namin ni Asec Nikki ay this thing about psychosocial support for workers. Kasi ang dami nang nahihirapan. Maski na ako po, I'll be totally transparent. There are days where I just need to call someone to just lift up my spirit and kind of remind me, because these are trying times. COVID-19, senior citizen tayo, we are nakababad. Frontliners din kami, essential din kami. Nakababad kami sa masamang balita. Hinahanap namin lahat ng balita. And nowadays, ang unang dumadating is bad news more than good news. In any case, yun po, no? So, maraming taong nahihirapan psychologically, stressed out. Meron pang mga tao, naku, nagre-report sa akin, yung mga boss nila, mga manager nila, mga anak daw ni Satanas. Huwag pong ganun. Let's pray for them, but at the same time, let's remind employers, managers, life is not just about quotas and profit. It's about people. And if people leave you en masse, and I have seen this, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen companies na nag-walk out na lang ang mga tao dahil excuse the word, gago ng amo, nag-walk out yung buong staff, o hindi napala niya, kakamura niya, kakasigaw niya, kakabaton ng gamit, nawalan siya ng trabahador, lalo siyang nalugi. And let's now go to our next guest, kasi meron naman mga tao, madinig lang COVID, palalayasin yung kanilang tenant. Nako, yan pa isa, maraming ngayon. Kung kailan nga nagkakahirapan, doon pa hinihigpitan yung koleksyon at pagtaas, increase ng rent, etc. Let's bring in our regular, ito po, media person rin naman ito, si Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya of the DILG. Usec, Malaya, are you there?
Yes, I am, and thank you for having me once again, Tito.
Thank you for joining us. Mukhang mas marami kang libro kaysa sa akin.
Ano po, nagpapadamihan tayo.
Okay. Padamihan ng librong hindi nababasa. In any case, Usec, Jonathan, welcome to the program, and I just wanted to find out, kasi may mga, first, emotional story. Noong isang araw may lumabas na front page pa nga sa ibang pahayagan, yung nurse ba na COVID-19, nagsabi siya sa landlady niya na may COVID-19 siya, pinalayas. At nagpalaboy-laboy, nagpunta sa Makati, humingi ng tulong. Ewan ko, parang hindi natulungan dahil sarado na yung opisina, linggo yata yun. Nalaman ng Red Cross, mabuti na lang yung Philippine Red Cross responded. Now, Meron na ba tayong mga napakulong na mga landlord, landlady na ganyan? Kasi alam nyo, sa barangay, sakop ng barangay yan eh, Usec Malaya.
Well, medyo komplikado kasi itong sitwasyon nitong nurse na ito kasi apparently yung kanyang pinagtatrabahuhan niya, hindi rin siya tinulungan, okay? Kasi supposedly kahit pa paano there must be some support coming from the company where she works.
Mm.
And then, yung kanyang landlord, walang puso, no? Dahil sa kung anong dahilan, hindi siya, pinaalis siya doon sa kanyang pinagtatrabahuhan, and then pumunta siya sa barangay, hindi rin siya natulungan. I think what the barangay should have done at this point, kasi ang ginawa yata nung barangay ay, ito yung number ng SESU, tawagan mo. The barangay should have gone the extra mile. Tinulungan siya, kinontak yung SESU, kasi pasok naman sa jurisdiction ng barangay kung saan siya nakatira, para masundo siya, padala siya sa isang isolation facility. Because that's the first thing that must be done. Kung pwede siyang mag-home quarantine dahil wala naman siyang simptomas or mild ang kanyang symptoms, sa bahay lang siya. Unfortunately, wala nga siyang bahay. So the thing that should have been done, dinala siya sa quarantine facility of the LGU or of the national government. At ang mag-a-arrange niyan, kailangan yung SESU. So meron po pagkukulang po talaga dito yung ating barangay. Pero I think there was lack of empathy from the beginning, no, on the part of the company that was employing her, on the part of the landowner or the ang tawag doon, yung may-ari ng bahay,
Yung landlord.
homeowner,
Oh.
and then on the part of the barangay. So it was really a confluence of events. Buti na lang nakatulong yung Philippine National Red Cross.
Yeah, what can the DILG do about this? Kasi pasensya ka na, no, you know me personally, I like to promote love and peace, etc. Pero yung ganitong sitwasyon, ako hingin ko masampulan eh, para matigil ito kasi frontliner na yan eh. And wala pa kasing nadidinig ang tao o hindi natin pinaparinig sa tao na I'm sure may nasampulan na kayo pero hindi najajaryo. In this day and age when people can actually abuse that and have no compassion, kayo ba may plano kayong sampulan itong mga taon to?
Okay. Maybe we can take a look at what cases can be filed doon sa landowner, doon sa landlord, and kung anong admin case naman ang pwedeng ma-file natin doon sa barangay for negligence, for not doing the extra mile. Kasi sa panahon ng krisis, kailangan nagtutulungan tayo. So we will ask our legal to take a look at the possible administrative liabilities of the barangay in this case, no? Tama ka, Cito, we have already been acting fast to para matauhan yung mga barangay natin. As a matter of fact, si Secretary Anyo has already submitted the 50 names of barangay captains na ipapasuspend din natin, preventive suspension with the Office of the Ombudsman. And there's continuous, we're working very closely with the Office of the Ombudsman para mailabas na yung suspension orders against the 50 barangay captains na may anomalya naman doon sa social administration program.
Siguro pag nangyari na yun, Usec, Jonathan, pakisabihan lang kami, we would be more than happy to guest you on the show. At isa-isahin natin basahin yung mga kaso at mga pangalan nitong mga nagkasala. Kasi people are now, I guess you can sense it, you're in the epicenter of all the headaches, na there is so much frustration. And frustration is beginning to turn into anger. And maski na nga ako, parang revenge mode na ako eh. Kung hindi natin sila madaan sa pangangaral. Si Secretary Anyo, binabatikos na nga eh. Yung tao, he's just trying to, encourage people to wear mask, to wear the face shield, nabubugbog na. Pagkatas, eto pa itong mga pasaway. No? In any case, lipat tayo ng topic. Intayin ko na lang pag meron na kayong action taken. Dito kay Secretary Anyo, medyo parang hindi naintindihan ng ilang tao yung kanyang motivation or reason na sinabi niyang kahit sa bahay, mag-mask na kayo at saka mag-face shield. ibigay ko na siya, total ikaw yung spokesperson. Pakiliwanag na kasi yung iba react ng react sa sa Facebook, parang sabi ko, ang daming malalaking problema. Yan pa yung pinatulan ninyo.
Alam mo, Sito, sa social media lahat diyan summa cum laude, lahat matalino, no? Lahat ang tawag namin yan sa grupo namin yung mema sabi lang. So
Oh.
hindi naman malalim na makapag-comment lang. So I think part and parcel na yan ng public service ito, no. Yun nga lang, kaya naman nainis masyado si Secretary Anyo, and we have directed the Philippine National Police, in particular the CIDG and yung anti-cybercrime group dito sa issue nung social media post, no, na umiikot kahapon, was precisely kasi fake news kasi na it was designed in such
Alin to, Usec, pasensya ka na. Medyo baka hindi ko nasaga. Alin ba yan? Sa dami eh.
Ito yung physical distancing after sex.
Awa ng Diyos, hindi ko nadinig.
Okay.
Baka I was busy doing something.
There was this person na naglagay ng Facebook post that went viral yesterday. Actually, may leads na kami. We know the geographical area where the post was made, no? So we have a fairly good idea now kung sino yung taong yun, and we're now just building up the case para makasuhan siya.
So pinalalabas, ano yung pinalalabas dun sa fake news?
Pinapalabas niya, the Secretary Anyo made a statement na people should practice physical distancing after sex. So he was making fun. He was maligning Secretary Anyo, and it was in the guise of a news report. So ginalaw niya yung news report, yung social media card na gawa ng isang news agency. Ginalaw niya, inedit niya to make it appear that Secretary Anyo made that statement. Ngayon, if this was just a meme na alam natin na katawa-tawa na it was just made by any individual, we wouldn't really react kasi this happens all the time. No. Unfortunately, it was designed in such a way as to attribute a malicious statement to Secretary Anyo. Ang masakit dito, si Secretary Anyo is a COVID survivor. No, he was one of the first cabinet members to have COVID. So,
yan na sinasabi ko tinago niya yan no? Hindi, sinabi niya, parang ayaw pa niyang aminin nun
No. As a matter of fact, I was the first, when I was talking to him, sabi ko, sir, do we really need to let the public know? Sabi niya, we have to be very transparent. Kaagad-agad niya sinabi niya. He was the first among the cabinet members, if you remember.
Kasi ang nadinig ko, sabi niya parang I was cleared. So siguro mali lang pagkaintindi ko. Okay. In any case, so he's a COVID survivor. So hindi niya gagawin biru-biruan niyang COVID na yan.
Correct. So ang mali kasi doon sa social media post na yon was, yun, as I said, trying to sow disinformation by attributing an alleged statement by the secretary in a news report. By editing this social media card. So doon kami nainis. So despite all of the criticisms that the DILG and some officials of government are receiving, we took an exception to this case. Dahil nga it was clearly disinformation and fake news. So as I was saying, that was the context of why Secretary Anyo yesterday said na we will file charges against this person. Ngayon, to answer your question, Cito, yung sinasabi mo na why did Secretary Anyo recommend the use of face mask? Alam natin mahirap, no? Sa bahay. Alam natin, and most people live in small houses. Ngunit the data kasi shows that the transmission is happening in the families. Lumabas, pumasok sa trabaho, or kung saan man niya nakuha. And then pag uwi sa bahay, walang effort, no, to protect himself or the family. So we know it's hard, but it has to be said, and that's why he mentioned that, no. And people can always criticize, but the secretary strongly believes in this. Ako nga nung
tama ka doon, Usec Jonathan kasi ako aminin ko, medyo nababagabaan, medyo nagugulo nga yung katahimikan ko kuminsan kasi siyempre pupunta ako doon sa tindahan o kaya ako'y pupunta sa Mercury. Yun lang ang exercise ko, so naglalakad ako. Pero palagi kong nakakalimutang iwanan yung tsinelas doon sa footbath.
Yes.
Palagi kong nakakalimutang, maghubad, maligo. And I guess talking to you now, the best thing that many of us can do magpaskil ng reminder card sa gates natin o sa pintuan ng bahay. Remove your clothes, take a shower, ganito. Kasi tama ka tama si Secretary Anyo. Maraming pumapasok sa trabaho, pupunta sa grocery, pagkatas kami, ako, I confess, para at least may example ka na, pupunta yung misis ko sa grocery. Pagdating dito sa bahay, tutulungan namin siya mag-akyat ng gamit, maglabas ng gamit. Hindi siya nakapagpalit, ako nga ginagawa ko kumisan, ini-spray ko na lang yung sarili ko ng alcohol para madali. So totoo yun. Tama yung sinasabi mo that we forget. We are not pasaway, pero we forget na when you go out, you have been exposed or you could have been exposed.
Yes, actually the underlying message that Secretary Anyo wanted to say was protect your family. That was it. Yun ganun kasimple, no? You have to protect your family because you provide for them, you do everything for them, and yet you sometimes forget the minimum health standards at home. So, pareho tayo kasi ito, no? Ako din, napapagalitan ng misis ko kasi dire-diretso ako sa bahay na yung sapatos di ko tinatanggal, and hindi kaagad ako nakakapaghubad ng aking mga damit, ninayakap ko yung mga anak ko. So I think the message of Secretary Anyo was kung everybody has to do their part, everybody has to practice individual discipline, and everybody has to practice individual responsibility, and protecting yourself from COVID does not end when you get to your house or your home.
Kasi yung mga summa cum laude at magna cum laude sa atin sa Facebook, karamihan dyan, yun yung mga kulong mga kulob. Sila yung protected environment, sila lang. Kanya parang, ano yan? Wala nga akong kasama dito, etc. Hindi nila na-realize yung mga iba na lumalabas araw-araw katulad ni Jonathan Malaya, pumapasok sa opisina, pagkatapos babalik sa bahay. Bibigyan ko ng payong ang misis mo, Usec dyan, para pag pumasok ka, bubuksan ng mga anak mo yung payong, hindi ka makakalapit. in any case, okay, alam mo, dinadaan ko na lang biro-biro dahil kung minsan, pag sineryoso natin to baka ma-aneurysm tayong dalawa. In any case, so, protect your family. Yun yung message ni Secretary Anyo. Okay, ngayon, speaking of family, kamusta naman po yung mga kapamilya natin, ating mga kabaro sa PNP? Kasi may lumabas ding, siyempre, anonymous, reporter naman namin ng sumulat sa Philippine Star, anonymous, na sabi ng mga doktor sa PNP, hirap na kami. Hirap na rin sila. At saka, alam ko, ang mga kaso ng COVID sa PNP, umabot na yata kayo ng 3,000. Paano ba yan?
Hindi naman, Cito, we're at 2.6, but pero hindi malayo.
Hello?
Malayo.
Kasi tinuro sa akin sa mathematics at arithmetic, you round off to the nearest.
Medyo malayo ang nila-round off yung 2.9 o yung 2.8.
Okay.
No, pero yung 2.6 naman is the total number of cumulative cases. The active cases, of course, is lower dahil may mga recovered na. And kasi ito, our PNP are frontliners. Hindi yan gaya ng ibang mga opisina ngayon ng gobyerno, naka-skeletal or naka-halahati lang, naka-work from home. Ang ating pong kapulisan, hindi pwedeng mag-work from home yan. So, and they are part of the contact tracing team. They are part of the Oplan Kalinga, yung paglipat ng mga pasyente na nag-home quarantine sa mga isolation centers. They are also running the quarantine control points. So they are really exposed. Ngayon, what we do is they undergo a rapid body test, no? The PNP also has its own COVID-19 center.
Usec Malaya, mukhang madiin na yung kampanya na itigil yung antibody test kasi napepeke tayo eh. Hindi ko sinasayang peke yung test, napepekan tayo. May mga false positive, may false negative. Yan ba ipagpapatuloy pa rin ng DILG at ng PNP using that, or are you going to take the initiative to say puro na tayo PCR?
Well, we understand yung posisyon ng mga doktor, no? Pero iba kasi yung perspective namin sa DILG and iba yung perspective ng mga local government units. Dahil ito pong PCR test has been very useful in what we have been doing. Kasi dadalawa lang naman ang tests natin, rapid test and PCR test.
Yeah.
Sa PCR test, although meron na tayong more than 100 laboratories in the country, hindi natin maabot yung yung tinatawag nung capacity dahil lagi tayo may problema sa mga medtech. Yung medtech nagkakasakit. Okay? So, it's difficult to replace trained medical technologists. That's why nagkakaroon ng lag ngayon dahil nagkakasakit, for example, yung mga medtech ng RITM, nagkakasakit yung mga medtech ng Philippine National Red Cross. So, we are not able to do the maximum capacity of the entire system. So lagi may lag time, no?
At saka pag nagkasakit ang isa, quarantine ang lahat doon sa floor na 'yon. Na pakiawan ng tama natin eh.
Yes, according to the PGH study which was released to us a few days ago, talagang very contagious ang COVID-19 even in hospitals, no? Especially in hospitals dahil ito ngang mga doktor natin nahahawaan na. Ano pa kaya yung mga pulis natin na hindi naman mga doktor, wala namang background sa medical field. So I think it's part of the hazards of the job, no? Pero hindi siya, of course, Cito, we're not saying na ganun na lang. So we are doing the PCR tests, we're doing the rapid antibody test kits. We're doing the PCR test as well. Meron tayong sariling COVID-19 PCR testing center, ang PNP, sa PNP Health Service na para sa kanila lang. We're almost done with the testing center in Cebu para naman sa pulis natin doon. Para hindi na pumila yung pulis sa kung saan-saan pang mga testing centers. We have a dedicated one for them already. And of course, yung paggamit ng mga PPEs, yung paggamit ng mga and the minimal health standards, no? But considering that we have around 50,000 police officers across the country, yung ating numbers are not tragic, so if I can use the word tragic, you know. Yun nga lang, because of them being a frontliner, it stands to reason that there will always be people in the PNP ranks who will test positive, just like what's happening in the hospitals. If you are a frontliner, the possibility of you having COVID is higher than the normal population.
Alam mo, Usec Jonathan, bigla ko naalala nung sinabi mo, ilan yun? 150 na namatay ng mga pulis. Aba, nung ako ay 16 years old, press photographer ako para sa The Sun at Evening News. Na-assign ako dyan sa Western Police District, dun sa headquarters sa United Nations. Meron silang wall doon wall of honor for those who died in the line of duty. At nakapangalagay mga pangalan doon, di ba? Abay, bigla ko na-realize when you said that number, it would seem that we lost more police officers in the last, 3 months than we have in the last how many years. Medyo parang ang saklap isipin no na sobrang dami na rin ang namatay in the line of duty. Thank God it's not violent, but nonetheless they gave up their lives. Ngayon, ano po ba ang situation ng mga kapulisan natin? May mga checkpoints pa rin ba tayo? Kasi I remember telling General Eliasar, Sir, pag-aralan nyo na yung pagkuha-kuha ninyo ng temperature na yan kasi pumapasok yung kamay ng pulis natin sa loob ng kotse, yung aircon bumubuga, nalilipat sa kamay yung mikrobyo. May mga doktor na nagsasabi useless yung temperature na yan. Itigil nyo na yan.
Mm. Yes, nakadeploy po ang ating kapulisan right at the very moment, especially sa mga quarantine control points natin in Metro Manila. Yung sa boundaries natin, for example, dyan sa may Balintawak, sa Kamachile, we have there all of the major roads going in and out of Metro Manila. Meron tayong mga police na nakadeploy, and we have random checkpoints across major streets of Metro Manila while we are in MECQ. Yung biyahe po sa mga probinsya are also being monitored by the Philippine National Police. So for example, if you are able to go out of Metro Manila, even during the GCQ, paglabas mo ng bayan, for example, naka-T-Plex ka, paglabas mo ng bayan, may police checkpoint dyan. So that's the first role of the police. The second role of the police is, of course, assisting yung ating mga city epidemiology surveillance unit or municipal SU doon sa contact tracing. Kasi madami po tayong mga kababayan, when they are identified as a close contact at pupuntahan ng mga civilian, ayaw mag-cooperate. Ayaw magsalita, ayaw magsabi kasi natatakot, baka daw sila ay sisihin ng kanilang mga pamilya, mga kamag-anak na sila ay nagkakalat ng COVID-19 sa kanilang lugar. You know, the normal discrimination. So, ang ginagawa po natin, it's the police that goes to them and investigates para makuha ho natin, because we need to really ramp up our contact tracing. Our contact tracing right now is just 1:4. And based on the recommendation of Mayor Benji Magalong, we should be able to increase this to 1:37, meaning from one COVID patient, kailangan up to the 4th degree ng mga close contacts ay napupuntahan natin or nakakausap natin so that we can cut the transmission. That's the only way we can cut the transmission outside of a lockdown. So if we are going to proceed with defeating this COVID while reopening the economy, because we all know our economy is already in ICU, the only viable option na meron tayo ngayon is to do aggressive contact tracing, and we need the police to help our civilian contact tracers. The third role that the PNP is doing is doon sa paglipat ng mga COVID patients na hanggang ngayon ay nasa mga bahay na wala namang sariling CR, wala namang sariling kwarto. We're moving them to isolation facilities para nga hindi na sila maging source of transmission in the house or in the community. So talaga dito kasi they are really exposed to the risks. So yung trabaho talaga nila is high risk.
Okay, well, I think we should also magnify that, highlight that, kasi hindi rin niya nakikita ng mamamayan. Kanya ako po, makulit ako dyan, tanong ako ng tanong. Kasi sa totoo lang, hindi ginagawa nila yung hindi nila trabaho pagkatapos buhay pa ang nakataya. Buwis buhay nga sila. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Yeah, but just a final note lang kasi ito, tapos sasabihin pa when we deploy the police, it's a military solution.
Alam mo, Usec, kasi ayan din naman katigas naman ng ulo kasi nung ibang kasama mo Sinabi ko, let's wear the civilian uniform of the police, the blue. Kasi anyway, nabanggit mo kasi mas gusto ko yung itsura ng police na naka-blue. Dahil masyadong marami sa atin, we have nightmares from martial law. Yun lang po. And I've heard it time and again. Pwede ba let us see our police, because we can no longer tell who is military and who is police. Okay, thank you very much.
Hindi ko kasi inabot yung martial law, so hindi ko alam.
Alam mo, nasa Bible, do not tell a lie. Okay, Usec, thank you very much for your morning, and please convey our wishes for good health to the Secretary, lahat ng mga pulis at mga kasama nyo dyan. Thank you for doing your jobs, and take care of your health. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po kayo.
Okay, that's Usec Jonathan Malaya of the Department of Interior and Local Government. Yun po, let's just emphasize that. Let's just bring attention to that. Yung mga police po natin, our police officers, policemen and policewomen, it's not their job to do contact tracing. It's not their job to make sundo, to fetch the COVID positive or COVID suspect cases. It's not their job to do temperature checks, etc. And over 150 something daw, sabi ni Usec, ang namatay na. Alam ninyo, pag tiningnan ninyo yung mga namamatay sa isang taon, parang wow, eto ilang buwan lang, ilang pulis na. 150 plus na ang namatay. Let's at least show our gratitude to the police. And like I said to Usec Malaya, and I've said to General Eliazar, please bring back the boys in blue. Please bring out the wall of blue, the men in blue, the women in blue. Wag po yung combat fatigue kasi yan yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng alienation, nagkakaroon tayo ng lack of appreciation. We love our police, we respect the police, we want the police. We don't want people in fatigues. Hindi po tayo anti-military, pero makita natin yung ating kapulisan para matulungan natin ang ating kapulisan. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. When we return, puntahan naman natin yung mga tiga-tourism sector na bugbog na, mukhang maaapi pa here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on agenda, and at this point, we want to bring in the one of the best qualified representatives of the tourism sector kasi medyo may hinagpis, sama ng loob. And madalas ako makabasa dun sa Facebook page ko ng post na kung saan pera na naging bato pa. Pera raw na dapat ibibigay para sa tourism assistance, tourism development, parang na legislation ba o naging bato? Let's bring in Mr. Jose, I think he's called Joe, Jose Clemente III, President of the Tourism Congress of the Philippines and also President of Raja Tours Philippines Incorporated. Sir, nandyan na ba kayo?
Nandito na, Cito. Magandang umaga sa iyo.
Okay, you have to forgive my memory. Is it Joe?
Jojo.
Jojo, okay, Jojo. Ano ba yung nababasa ko sa Facebook na parang pera na naging bato pa, tulong sa tourism sector na wala, na-realign at na-lihis legislation. Please give us the real story kasi ayoko ma-fake news dito sa agenda, no? You have the time, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Cito. Originally kasi alam natin, no, there yung tinatawag nating Bayanihan 2, no. Na nakapaloob kasi doon, there are certain provisions there where the Department of Tourism is given tasks to do, no, to help and assist the tourism sector. Alam naman natin, bugbog na, and originally in the original versions of the in the House versions of Bayanihan 2, may nakaalat na 10 billion pesos sana for tourism, no? And that should have gone into primarily into financial aid for the stakeholders in the form of low interest loans through the GFIs. Meron pang konting provisions for marketing, for brand development and all of that. Pero DOT naman is willing to give that money sana to financial aid. Nagulat kami on second reading nung bill in the House version. The 10 billion that was supposed to be allotted for the financial aid was now allotted to infrastructure development through the TIESA, yung Tourism Infrastructure Economic Enterprise Zone, sorry, no.
Yeah.
And so nagulat kami bakit napunta sa infrastructure development. We have been very consistent naman from the beginning, the stakeholders, na ang kailangan namin at this point is more financial aid. Kasi Sito, kung isipin mo, since the lockdown ng March, wala nang kinita ang mga tourism establishments kasi category 4 kami. So we're not even allowed to go to our offices, plus the fact that our borders have been sealed and the various provinces have also closed their borders. So kung pati domestic travel na maganda sana ang asahan namin, nawala din. So basically, wala kaming kinita since March. So it's 5 months now. We're approaching 150 days na wala na kaming kinikita. So di ba, saan kami kukuha na ng ayuda? Although, admittedly, the government naman has come up with certain amelioration programs like TUPAD, CAMP, SBWS. Pero sa totoo lang, maliit lang ang nakuha ng tourism sector doon. Now, in the Bayanihan 2 bill, at least mayroon sanang nakasubi na 10 billion for financial assistance. It's in the Senate bill.
Saka, hindi yun pinamimigay. Gagamitin nyo na pautang na babayaran ninyo.
Yes, ito. Ito, with the understanding that this would be put into low interest, kung pwede pa nga sana zero interest loans with very generous payment terms, kahit 2 years na parang grace period sa amin. Kasi the way we anticipate tourism, the earliest probably would be very late this year or early next year. Yun na yung pinakamaaga, no, for international. But in the meantime, we were banking sana on domestic, pero still hindi pa rin ganun kalaki ang kikitain. Plus, how many stakeholders do we have? Ilan yung staffing namin? And ang ano namin, nandaman hinanakit, but ang sentimiento namin is that in 2019, 4 na trilyong piso ang pinasok ng tourism, no? Both international and domestic.
Pakiulit nga, Jojo, pakiulit ilan. Kasi tatanong ko na yon actually. Magkano ang inakyat na pera ng turismo? How much money did tourism industry contribute to the government in the 2019?
It's about close to 4 trillion pesos. Pag pinagsama mo na yung revenue ng domestic tsaka international. And then we contributed 12.7% to the country's GDP. And then
Ilan ang members nyo? Ilan ang estimated number of employees?
5.7 million, Cito, directly ha. Hindi pa kasama dyan yung peripheral na naapektuhan ng tourism. Alam naman natin, very broad ang effect ng tourism, mas lalo na to the ground level. So my personal estimate is that we probably affect around close to 8 to 10 million people, directly and indirectly.
Because maraming tao, nakikita lang nila yun, nasa resort, nasa hotel, nasa restaurant. Hindi nila nakikita yung nagsusupply ng isda, nagsusupply ng bottled water, nagsusupply ng mga tsinelas, gulay, mga massage oil, etc. Pati yung mga naglilinis. Pero ito ngayon ang isa pang gusto kong malaman kasi so you have about 5.7 to 8 million employees who are now all jobless.
For the most part, yes, we're jobless. Ang medyo active lang ngayon are the accommodation establishments that are being used as quarantine areas, no? Yung mga dumadating na mga OFWs, mga returning Filipinos. They're able to use the transportation. Pero I would say that 80% of the industry is shut down right now.
Okay, now what happened? Because when all of this started before all of this leaked to the on social media, akala ko everything was good. We regularly talked to Secretary Berna. Everyone was optimistic. Paanong na-realign sa TIESA ang 10 billion? At saan nila gagastusin yung 10 billion?
Infrastructure ang binanggit at the meeting sa tourism committee, no, si Kong Sol Aragones, and then Congressman Chato, and the Deputy Speaker Villafuerte was also there. In terms of specific projects, wala namang nabanggit. But I would assume that since it would be downloaded to TIESA, baka yung mga ano nila yon, yung mga existing projects or projects that are that they have already identified.
Ano bang mga projects yan? Kasi alam mo, Jojo, pumasok din ako sa turismo. I was in tourism. I built 2 resorts in Palawan. And noong mga panahon namin, ang pinaglalaban ko noon, maayos yung airport dyan sa Busuanga. At maayos yung banyo. Kasi half of the time, pag resort developer or operator ka sa isang liblib na lugar, you have to actually fix the toilet because the tourists complain first of the toilets. But now we're way past that. Modern na ang tourism sa Philippines. What new infrastructure requires 10 billion pesos that is worth sacrificing the hand-to-mouth existence of 8 million employees?
Well, without going into terms yesterday, what Deputy Speaker Villafuerte mentioned was that mga roads going to certain destinations or to certain attractions in some of our LGUs, and then also parang nabanggit din niya is the provision of Wi-Fi for areas that may need it. So sabi ko, naintindihan ko naman, baka in normal times, okay lang sa akin yung infrastructure. Of course, infrastructure is one of the backbones of tourism. Alam naman natin yan eh. Pero sa ngayon, kung iisipin nga natin, as I mentioned earlier, 5 buwan na kaming walang kinita. So anong gagawin? Okay, you give it to infrastructure, pero how do you address naman the needs of the stakeholders.
Jojo, pasensya ka na, no? Kasi isang bagay that people are not talking about and you guys never really mention is the amount of loans that many of you developers have been borrowing. Kasi may nagsabi sa akin yan, Cito, pag pinabayaan niyang turismo na yan, marami dyan may mga utang sa bangko. Pag tumiklop yung mga yan, double jeopardy tayo. Sabi ko, what do you mean double jeopardy? And this is a non-tourism person. Ha? This is a finance person. This person said to me, first, you lose the business, which is so hard to put up because you need to have the physical business and you need to have the reputational business. And then you have the banks or whatever lending facility who lent money to them. Pag marami sa kanila specialized on tourism loans, tiklop din yun. So double jeopardy on the finance side and on the tourism side. Ngayon, kayo ba, gaano ba ka-extensive talaga? Kasi last year, alam ko, ang dami sa inyo, we're so gung-ho about expansion.
Kasi naman prior to the pandemic, 2020 was shaping up to be a very promising year for tourism. Based on the interest that we were already garnering, no, let's say from third quarter of 2019 coming into 2020, ang dami talagang gustong pumunta dito. The Philippines was really becoming the sort of the darling of Southeast Asia. Finally, they were discovering what the Philippines is about. We put out very effective marketing and promotional programs. In fact, most of us in the private sector, sinasabi namin, parang this is the breakout year sana. Tinamaan tayo ng pandemic eh. So, through no one's fault, I guess, yung concerns na sinabi mo about financial exposure, nadamay ngayon, no? Yung mga developers, the resort owners, the banks, in effect, will also be affected. So, wala naman tayong masisisi talaga, pero it's a fact of life na ganun talaga yung mangyayari. Pero,
Okay, so anong resolution ninyo? Nakinig ba man lang yung kaibigan ko si Congressman ng Bicol?
Well, we were in fairness, we were able to exchange ideas and we agreed to disagree on certain points naman. We really impressed na kailangan namin yung ayuda, and ang counter nila was that well, may 51 billion naman na nakaalat doon for SMEs eh. Pero ang sabi naman namin makikipila pa kami sa iba-ibang industriya kasi that 51 billion is actually for everyone. Alam na natin kung ano nangyari in the wake of Tupad, Camp, SBWS, hindi rin maka-avail yung mga stakeholders namin. And in fact, some of our stakeholders ngayon, they try to do loans na with GFIs. Ang sabi sa kanila, sorry, we cannot provide loans for tourism related companies right now kasi wala naman kayong pagkukuhanan. So sabi ko, paano kami mabubuhay? So,
parang ka nga ngayon, try getting medical insurance right now. Try getting travel insurance. Na lahat yung mga yan, sigurista. Kung hindi sila kukubra, hindi sila pupusta. In any case, Jojo, how bad is the situation? Assuming things remain the same, how many will shut down? How many will we say goodbye to?
Marami. Actually, as of now, Cito, marami nang nagsara. I can't give a percentage, but these are friends of mine who, industry friends of mine na nagtitext sa akin na kailangan na namin magsara. And most of us are just hanging on by a string at this point. Kaya kami nakatingin dyan sa Bayanihan Tusana. And then if they ever take up the Arise Bill also, kasi meron ding 58 billion na nakaalat sa tourism doon. Pero wala kami kasiguraduhan eh. And even if we look at the tourism and travel situation around the world, bukas-sara, nakikita natin, di ba? Bubuksan sandali, tapos biglang magkaka-infection, so sara na naman. So from the beginning, we've been saying, unless we come up really with an effective vaccine for COVID, tourism will be, up and down. And that's the paradox of it, no? Ang tourism during the good times, everyone is pro-tourism. Thank you, ang laki ng perang pinapasok ninyo. Pero pagdating sa ganitong panahon, biglang, non-essential kayo, pasensya na muna kayo, ha? Wala muna kami may bibigay para sa inyo. Ang sa amin lang is that in consideration naman, in contrast naman to the proportion of money that we bring into the government, bigyan din naman kami nung para sa amin din. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, well, this much I can promise you as far as agenda and our group is concerned. We will support tourism. I will support you in my columns. We will push. Please feel free to let us know how and where what areas we can speak about. Pati si Sec Berna, we support her because ang laking hirap ang dinanas naming lahat o nating lahat to get tourism to be recognized as a serious contender for job generation and profit generation, and for it to just die because of COVID-19 and because of lack of foresight, medyo unacceptable yan, Jojo. In any case, any last words or statement?
well, thank you, Cito, no, for those kind words, and we really appreciate any assistance or help that you can extend for the industry. Yun nga, bugbog sarado na kami. But just to add to what I said earlier, ang plano namin ngayon, since the bill already passed the third reading sa House, is that we will go to the BICAM committee na to lobby kung
Okay.
pwedeng ibalik sana. No? But well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Jojo, may quick question lang ako. Walang mali siya to, no? Gusto
Yeah.
ko lang maliwanagan. Kasi may nasagap akong chismis sa industriya. Meron bang mga namimili ng resort dyan o hotel? Kasi parang yun yung pangamba ngayon na some people are taking advantage of the dire straits of the industry.
Parang nilolowball nila yung mga
Oh,
resorts.
namimili na ng business. Oh, wala na, bagsak na kayo, bili na lang namin, binibili lang namin yung real estate, ganyan.
Okay. Well, personally, I have not heard of anything. No. Although I know that there are some properties that are thinking of selling already, baka related, or it can be a random thing. Pero I wouldn't be surprised if some resort owners are starting to sell off kasi this will take a while for tourism to recover. So window natin masyadong mahirap makita yung labas.
Okay, well, that's it, Jojo. We've run out of time, but like I said, we support you. We're behind you. Please stay strong, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Thank you, Cito. Good morning.
Okay, yan po si Jose Clemente, Jojo Clemente III of the Philippine Let's pray for each other because that's the least we can do, but it's the best we can do. Maraming salamat po. That's agenda for today.